Hi everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. This is going to be a what sold video for all of the items that sold across three platforms, Poshmark, eBay, and Mercari from September 15th until September 21st. We're going to get started with eBay. We sold a new with tags pair of Jones New York pants. They were a plus size 18W and they sold for $30. Next was this really cool set of Thermajack drink coasters. They were really neat. I bought them back when I lived in Wilmington at the beach. So like what, maybe a decade ago, at least. And I don't even remember how much I paid for them, but they were really cool vintage 60s or 70s. And they are kind of like a vintage koozie, but they were like knitted material. I don't even know. They were like a drink sweater, I guess. They were just really neat and they had plastic packaging still on them, but either they were like half off the packaging was like half off of them when I got them, or I had to take the packaging off to get a better picture and then I couldn't get it back on all the way. So I just included that the packaging came with it. And then when I went to ship it out or have my husband ship it, I like kind of tried shoving it in the packaging as much as I could. I didn't want to damage the packaging, but I wanted to include it because it still had like a $30 price tag from back then. So obviously the person I think got a pretty good deal for these. I had them listed for $40 and they said they were getting them for their grandmother's 90th birthday, which is really cool. They said she used to have some of these and they had to throw them out recently because they had gotten like moldy or something. So they were looking to buy her some new ones for her birthday. So how cool is this that these were like actually new? So I'm really hoping their grandma enjoys these. They are so fun. I even thought that this would even have made really good like a prop. You know, sometimes TV shows and movies will buy props online um for their movies and TV shows. So this would have been really cool, especially since it was new. But anyway, it was just a fun little thing, and we don't usually sell hard goods, so this was a new with tags Talbot's skirt that my mom gave me to sell and we got 25 for that. This was one of those 50 cents items that I purchased from the church sale a couple months back. Um, yeah, had a sale a couple months ago, and I saw there's going to be another church sale. I'm not sure if it's the same one or not. I think it might be. I'll have to double check. Coming up that in October that I want to go to, and it said that they have, I think it might that they'll have clothing, and that's good because usually like at church sales and stuff, they're just trying to get rid of the clothing and whatever else they have there for pretty cheap. They just want to get rid of it and they want to just make a little money for their church, and they're not going to be as tied to it as some people are tied to their own personal items. So that's always a plus. And this sold for $26. Next was a Sable Sky t-shirt. This was something I had bought from an old friend of mine. I bought some clothes from her. She was getting rid of a bunch because she lost a lot of weight and she just had like a big trash bag together and said, if you could sell any of these for me. And so I don't do like consignment because it just gets messy. So I just offered to buy them outright from her. And I paid her $2 for anything that I was going to try to sell online, and then $1 for anything I was going to try to sell at the consignment shop, that store we sell at. And I know that doesn't sound like much, but these were just because that was just because these were like really, I wouldn't even say basic brands. They were just like the things you kind of get at like Ross, TJ Maxx, Marshalls that aren't, you know, it was gonna be like a little more style based, a little more just like barely bread and butter. Like you see this sold for $12. So I didn't pay out that much. But I think she ended up getting like $100 or something for the whole bag of stuff that I took from her. So this sold for $12. And as you'll see later, the other shirt, which was the same brand, same style, size, whatever, it sold on Poshmark. Then we sold a pair of Sperry. This is the last thing on eBay. Sperry men's shoes. My mom had found these for, I almost want to say they were like free or they were just like a dollar or two at a church thrift store in town. And I actually just went to that thrift store the other day, but I didn't get a chance to look around. But they have okay prices. I would say they're similar to our Goodwill, but they'll do sales sometimes like half off women's tops or whatever. It's on the complete opposite end of town for me, but it's right next to my mom, so she goes in there a lot more than I do. And they don't have that much selection of clothing, which is primarily what we deal in with our online retail. But she did find these, like I said, they were either like free or like $2 or something. And they sold for 25. I was a little weary because they are just a size 8.5. I know when I used to work at Plato's Closet, we had our shoes were all kept on like top of the clothing racks. They were like flat on top of the racks, and we that's where we'd put shoes based on sizing, obviously. And the men's selection was super small, but the one closest to the register were like 8 and 8.5, and that was almost always empty because we just, I don't know, like we just didn't sell many shoes in that size. No one really asked for them. And if we did have shoes there, they sat for so long. Sometimes women would come and shop the that section because I don't even know what is an 8 or 8.5 equate to for women's. Is it like a 10 or something maybe? So sometimes women would shop in that little section, but it was rare for men to have feet that size. But luckily these sold for $25, so that was good. And so total profit for eBay was $67.93, which is more than the week prior, so that's good. Moving on to Mercari, where we did have two sales. We sold a Simply Southern seahorse seashell dress. This is a super cute little printed dress, and it sold for $12. Not much, but we don't really sell too much Simply Southern, and it doesn't go for that much. A lot of times their sales in stores will make these items pretty cheap. Definitely not something I would be looking to pick up, especially not their t-shirts. We profited. Oh, we had the two items, and the other item was this vintage band shirt that used to be my husband's, and he got this from a concert. So it was like a concert tee, and it sold for $38. We had a lot of interest in this on Poshmark, but ultimately it sold on Mercari, and it was awesome because the person who was buying it was like, I don't know, I think they might have been a teenager. Yeah, I think they said they were like 15, and they were really sweet, and they were like, I don't have what you're asking, the asking price. They were like, could you please accept a lower offer because I love this band and it's so cool that you have an original shirt. Because I even suggested, I said, I can't go as low as you're asking, but you might be able to find a cool replica on Amazon for about the same price that's in your budget. And I did actually find this same graphic on Amazon on a t-shirt, and they were more in their asking range, which was I think was like $20. And they said, I get it. I appreciate the off that they said, but they said nothing beats like an original shirt. And I was like, I get it. So we ended up settling on a price of 30. I must have had it for like 50 or something, but we settled on, I guess, 38. Um, and then it was cool because the kid and my husband like nerded out over songs and stuff. So that was really fun. And I always like that. I if you can like, I don't know, tell me a good story or something or make that connection, then I'm totally willing to work with you on price. So yeah, that was really great. Our total profit then on Mercari was 35.85. So not too bad. Why was it 35? That doesn't seem low. I think maybe, yeah, I guess that's because I don't remember how much I put this was. It's that weird thing where it's like your own item. So like how much do you actually put for cost of good? Because like he doesn't know how much he spent on this probably like what 20 years ago. And then he wore it. So then it's like, what do you consider the cost of good to be? I'm still kind of wondering that. I don't know what most people do. I think I usually put like $4 or $5 for cost of goods if it's something that was our own, but it's always kind of like a weird thing. Okay, then we go to Poshmark. We had quite a bit of sales on Poshmark that week. We will start down here. We sold a pair of soft surrounding jeans. These were some really cool pull-on plus size jeans that I got from the consignment store when they were having one of their 25% off sales, and they sold for $27. which by the way, that store just had another 25% off sale, or they're running it this week. It started on Monday, and I went in there like about 10, I think, that morning, and it's no 11, and I did some shopping while they were looking through items to see what they wanted to take of mine. And I got some pretty good stuff, so I'm going to be doing a haul a few minutes after I'm done with this video, and I will be posting that soon. Then this was a bundle of two items. It was that other, let me make sure. Yeah, it was the other Sable and Sky t-shirt, the one that I said was kind of similar to the other one that sold on eBay, and a Halloween sweatshirt. I didn't make too much off of that. As you see, I sold both of those items together for $18, but I'm just trying to get some of that older inventory out. A pair of Democracy crop jeans sold for 20. Usually I want to get a little bit more for Democracy jeans, but these were a smaller size and they were cropped, and I know we don't have much longer in this like warm weather season, so I wanted to get those out. A J. Jill pocket sweater. This was really cute. I considered keeping it myself, but I'm not petite or petite like size. And I did let it go for $14, which is a little cheaper than I wanted to, but the lady loved it, so I'm glad she got a good deal. Then we will move to this little Pokemon pajama outfit. This I got like when I started dating my husband, so this was like quite a while ago, but I only wore it one time. And it sold for $11, not too bad. I actually think it came from Hot Topic, which I probably should have added on the listing. We sold a Nike t-shirt that was NFL branded, and it sold for 9. You see some like lower prices here between, like I said, the sweater, that bundle of two, the Pokemon pajamas, this 9. Let's see, a lot of little things, and that's okay. We still made a decent amount, and I'd rather make low sales than no sales. Move on to cut from the cloth jeans. I think these actually just sold outright and they sold for $25 and they were just a size 8. I say just because that's I'm far away from an 8, so to me that's pretty small. And I tend to sell larger sizes, and by larger I mean like 14 and up, specifically 16s and up. So whenever I get smaller pants that sell, that's always good to me because usually they sit longer. Then this new with tags Halloween shirt, $9. A pair of Torrid jeans in an 18 short sold for 21. Torrid is really starting to not really drop off, but just I'm not getting as good of prices as I used to. I used to always price my Torrid jeans at $30. Now it's more like 25, and then they tend to sell for anywhere from like 18 to 25. So yeah, I wouldn't pick them up for much more than $5. I did unfortunately just buy some for more than that because I was hoping they'd fit me and they don't. So I'm gonna try putting them on here and hopefully I can get a little more than 20. Then we sold a pair of LuLaRoe jeans. Same with this LuLaRoe jeans. I had picked up about two or three pairs before, and I was able to get like 30 to $35 for them. And even though these are a larger size, and I feel like I saw that when I did comps, black one sold for higher. These only sold for $21, and they sat for a while. This Vera Bradley purse, so strange. It sat for a bit. I think I posted this like earlier in the year or maybe at the end of last year, maybe earlier this year. This was there for a long time on on our store. It had a fair number of likes, and then within this last week, it just started getting all of these likes. I don't know what happened. And then someone bought it here on Poshmark. And then literally within a few minutes, someone bought it on eBay. And I hate when that happens. And so I messaged the lady on eBay and I explained to her that it sold on the other platform before our cross listing site was able to get it taken off. And I asked her if she either wanted to cancel the order and get a refund, or she wanted an item. What did she pay? She paid like 25, I think, for it on eBay plus shipping. Or I said I would send her a $30 item in its place. And at first she was going to pick out an item, and then she said, I'll just actually take the refund and I'll keep an eye in case you put any other purses on there. Thank you. And so that was good because on eBay they ding you if you cancel too many purchases and it reflects badly on your account. But this way, because she said I will cancel and just take the refund, I was able to click buyer requested cancellation, and then it doesn't reflect negatively on your account. But I do hate doing that. I don't like letting anybody down. And then lastly, this really cool vintage, close in on that, embroidered, super embroidered, and 3D applique and all the good things, beads, scarecrow fall themed sweater vest. And this sold on Poshmark, and then immediately I got an offer for it on Mercari, and I was like, let me take that off of there before the purse fiasco happens with this sweater vest. And so I took it down. But that sold for $25, and I'm pretty sure that was outright. I think that was just my asking price. And that I paid $2 for at a really cool parking lot yard sale that I went to. We never sourced yard sales hardly like ever, but that was pretty nice. All right, and our total profit on Poshmark, again higher than last week, was $133.39. And so that brought our total profit for the third week of September to $237.17. Now, combined with the other 2 weeks of September, that brings our profit to $800. So we just need to make 200 this last week of September in order to reach our $1,000 goal. So that is all for this What Sold video. I hope you guys did really great in sales, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.